Yeah. Good morning, my people. How are you today, my people? And today I'm babysitting. I'm babysitting, but you are not a baby. You're a boy. No, I'm boy sitting. Yes, I'm not babysitting. So good morning, my people. How are you today? I hope your morning is good. I hope Monday is starting fresh. December. Yeah. I hope your December is. Yesterday was World AIDS Day. I didn't. Like World AIDS Day used to be big, but that's because we used to watch TV. Like in social media, nothing was about World AIDS Day. X was there was nothing on World AIDS Day. I think I saw World AIDS Day later on. Someone sent it to my inbox. Yeah, we need to keep updated. I think people are forgetting the fight on AIDS. Yeah, on AIDS, the fight of AIDS, the AIDS fight. Probably because now they have vaccines, they have temporary vaccines, they have PrEP. So I think people are taking these things for granted. Yeah, but I hope you're okay. Did you go for checkup? Normally, World AIDS Day people go for checkup. Did you keep the tradition of going for checkup on World AIDS Day? Good morning to Sime Eddie Travel Live Low, Gilbert Amanya, George Bob Saith Kagaba, Ben Kako, Patrick Yopotre Farm, Shagaf Salmin, Louis Chambade Hannington, and Abdul. So I want us to talk SUVs, guys. You tell me, share with us what SUVs and vans you think people should be buying now. And when I say vans, Raum is not a van, the Wish is not a van, ISIS is not a van. Yeah. So kati van betupatandika tutandikira munuwa netwamuka waggulu. What van do you think people should be buying and why? Why should they be buying the van? And when we talk about SUVs, in Uganda, we are also talking of we're just talking about the cars that are raised, that have the SUV form. The RAV4, we talk about the XT, we talk about Kluger, we talk about the Kaundo, we talk about the Touareg, we talk about the Tiguan, yeah, we talk about the ML, we talk about the Land Cruiser. So what vans and SUVs do you think people should be buying now and why? Yeah, it's important we have this discussion so that I've seen people that just want to buy SUVs for the sake of SUVs, and then I've seen people that want to buy SUVs because they are raised. Why are you looking for a raised car? So they end up buying cars they cannot afford in fuel consumption and maintenance, because SUVs definitely take more money to maintain. They take extra fuel, which take it. Starting with the RAV4 old model, you realize that the RAV4 old model will consume more fuel than the average car. And then of course there are vans that consume extra fuel, but then there are also these small hatchbacks that consume fuel. When you get the thingy, Morad K Momo, everybody kusasura Morad K Momo sasude mieze minadena VIP. Uliwa amani, everybody nyo. Yeah. Bara Muriebuzi, good morning. George Senkubuge, good morning. Kawagama Enoch, good morning. To hide a secret, good morning. Paul Sema, good morning. Zach Bariesima, good morning. Bana mwebali kubera ko mwebali kera Morad K Momo munebalize kasa sude mieze na ja VIP. Munebalize ko Morad K Momo. Other people take SUVs out of passion. Okay, there are people that how do you be passionate of SUVs? I find that like Mama Aban wants an SUV simply because she wants to sit up there. Mayagara SUV, and one reason she likes the Ractis is because the Ractis sort of looks like an SUV. When she sits in the chairs, Mumito one, she feels like it's of course I raised it, then I gave it bigger tires, so it's it's a little high, so it almost feels like an, because when you look, let me just get close to this Pajero, which is an actual SUV. You see that Pajero, etusingako katono obuwanvu. Okitegeera, etusingako katono obuwanvu. Yet we are in a small car. Okitegeera. Ata how can I pay via ngenda kankole video ya lwakuba man no lwali really crazy, but I'm going to do a video how to get the virtual Visa card. I understand that some of you guys don't want to have your normal Visa card associated with digital payments, and I've also started disconnecting my normal Visa card from digital payments. I try to use the virtual cards right now. Nekansubire muri bulungi mwasuze bulungi ngenda kulagira travel life vlog. So guys, why should people be buying SUVs? And me personally, I find that the one reason, of course, that now the one reason for us to buy van, kat fe van ya fe ya asa egenda kubeera egenda kola Ragnar, what's up? What? You did not see a workstation? Okay. So guys, I'm boy sitting my youngest son Ragnar, and you know, along Bombo Road there is his name is Alban, and there is a petrol station called Alban. So he calls it his workstation. So he's saying he has not seen his workstation today. Your workstation is on another road. On this road there is no workstation of yours. Yeah, all the other workstations belong to other people now. Yeah. So anyway, guys, we are talking vans and SUVs. Now, what's the one reason to make you buy that Pajero? Me, I find that a long time ago, people used to buy those Pajeros, the Land Cruisers, because of the roads. Because the roads used to be terrible. Roads used to be worse than this. No, right? So it literally just made sense for people to be buying cars like that, the SUVs. And because the SUVs are not necessarily safer than the small cars. If you drive recklessly, you'll die. You get it? You'll be unalived. You see that, like the thing, if you bought a Mercedes Benz and you drove recklessly, a Mercedes Benz at 150 kilometers is still as dangerous as a Vitz at 150 kilometers, because a car is a car. The thing that happens, but they used to say that the people, Peter Kromo, good morning, Peter Kiromo, the people that they used to say that Mercedes Benz is a safer and all that. But how many times have you seen a Mercedes Benz driver drive recklessly? The young people nowadays that are buying Mercedes Benzes are competing with Subarus. Mercedes Benz drivers used to be some of the gentlest drivers in Kampala. Like you, Benz Benz, because the Mercedes Benz drivers drove with utmost care. So probably the reason why we never saw overturned Mercedes Benzes. But these days it was about Mercedes Benz. They overturn, they get accidents, which take it, right? And I find that the reasons why probably we don't see even more of those accidents. Like last year we saw many of them. Now we don't see many of them because people are giving up Mercedes Benzes. I saw Kasoko talking, and he said the Inako ML, it was an ML. Nagamba yajivako nga maintenance yayo ya chika cha ya bei na ajeso. I think now he's driving a Touareg, right? Aleka avuga Touareg right now. But still Touareg eyinza obutabera bei nyonyo nga Mercedes Benz. The only issue is the Mercedes Benz doesn't die like completely like the Touareg does. The Touareg can die totally. Ne fida da ne kulemerera no kulemeranga ne bakanika. Ne bakanika tebikola ki. Tebiwona Mgalasi Joshua Mix Farm, good morning. Daniel the World, good morning. I hope you guys are doing well today morning, yeah? It's a cold morning. Kankendeze ku sound ya AC. I'm sure no microphone kajisikanyo. So that we can then have our conversation. Tell me, guys, if you were to buy an SUV, why what would be the reason? What reason would you give a Kuguza SUV? What reason would you give a Kuguza van? Yeah? Kati me, I'm going to have a van in my home because I want to turn it into a motorhome. A motorhome, for the guys that don't know motorhomes, it's a motor car that has a home in it. You have a bed, you have a kitchen, you have and all those things. So that's one reason why I'm going to have a van in my home. My family is not that big, so we don't need a big car. The one reason we are going to buy an SUV is because Mama Ban wants SUVs. Like most women, abakazi abasinga bagala motoka ziri raised, bagala ayagala agivemba gambe wuya agivuddemu okitegeera. Era abakazi abasinga okuvuga emmotoka eza wansi, they drive the small cars because this is what they can afford. But if they had a chance, they would. That's why you find that abakazi abasinga bwabanga bawe amugulidde emmotoka eba SUV ebiseera ebisinga. Okugira ngo omusajja wa mutwe munene n'agamba fuga karawumu okitegeera. Good morning Triple M Bashiri Ogambo otya. Michael UG, good morning. It has been a cold morning today, but I hope your blood is not cold. It should be warm. Your heart should be pumping hot blood throughout your body. How was the weekend? Were you reminded that AIDS exists yesterday on World AIDS Day? AIDS the other thing that you guys need to remember is that hepatitis B is as bad as HIV. I think I saw an uncle of mine who died, and Yafada, he was one of the people that kept my dad's property when my dad died. But of course in Babidia. But that's not the point. The point is I saw this guy fall sick. He fell sick and his stomach grew big. Now at that time, I think so many people don't even know that hepatitis B treats the sick people like AIDS treats them. So hepatitis B is almost like HIV. When you fall sick of hepatitis B, everything else will be HIV. Every symptom, every sickness you get will be like HIV. The one thing that is different is that you'll get a kaput belly. Because hepatitis B, I think, affects the liver. And when the liver is not functioning, you have a lot of toxins in your body. Yeah. And yeah, so that's what happens. So most of the people that you see that grow thin and then get a kaput belly is because they have hepatitis B. And why most people that get hepatitis B are the people that drink a lot. Because hepatitis B can even get you when the person close to you has hepatitis B and they sweat on your body. Omuntu bwakutuyanako nga ina hepatitis B entuyo zinenza kugendako can get hepatitis B. Amalusu g'omuntu alina hepatitis B wegakugwa ku mubiri, you can get hepatitis B. It's that deadly. For it, it's not even sexually transmitted. Just fluids alone can get you getting hepatitis B. But there's a vaccine. Luckily, there's a vaccine, and our kids get vaccinated when they are born. But if you have not yet been vaccinated, you should go and get vaccinated. They give you 3 vaccines, one every 3 months. I think it's very cheap. The first time I think I paid 20, over 30. Then the other 2 times I paid 15. You should get vaccinated because with hepatitis B, especially if you still use public means, ngochali nya taxi or nya border, you never know when you will get. Mwabakozi abagenda mu gym, mutasoro kwata natuyanira ku cyuma nawe nojja n'otuyanirako, you get hepatitis B. And I'm thinking so many people katonda yakyakumi, otherwise the entire country would have hepatitis B if what they say about hepatitis B spread is true. Yeah, I just wanted to push it out there so that you know that what hepatitis B tawona. I think hepatitis A and C biwona, but hepatitis B tawona era nayo bogenda atandika managing nga HIV. Bogenda atandika kumira ARVs still. Yeah. But let's be safe, especially the men. Majority of us as men, when we are like 40, 50, that's when you have started getting something investments. So it would not make sense for you to die in your 40s. Yeah, say Agambi, I would consider SUV for safety and convenience and comfort. Okay, let me say it adds a little bit of safety because you're up there. Convenience. Okay. Tell me about the convenience bit of the SUV. I've seen for the safety thing, I've seen like so many MPs have died on highways. Government have got SUVs, so I don't know what it means by safety. I think the SUV gives you an illusion of yourself, and when you get an accident, you don't see death coming. That's what it does. SUVs, especially the government officials. But SUVs, I think, because the SUV gives you the illusion that you're safe, not dukanyo, and you have that confidence of my car is safe, and you end up unaliving yourself in accidents. So I say convenience. Comfort, I think I've driven some SUVs and I find that the comfort is in the mind. All cars over time, all cars. Ragnar, do you want a chapati? Chapati? You want one? Yeah? When are you? Eh. Nendi mukube ojijjako kati oba ngende. Nji mukube ojijjako kati oba ngende. Yameka. Leti. So you guys, ono mwana ayagala chapati nga bw'okiwulira. Ayagala chapati nga bw'okiwulira. Omumme ekirala n'otamumma chapati. But it's going to be very hot. You'll wait for it to cool down, yeah? Say needs for you to explain to me the convenience bit with an SUV. Chris Fitness, good morning. Nathan Agamba Arthur, did you watch the drone that overturned on Barakabade Road in a sharp corner? I've not seen that. I think I'm behind the news. I'm behind the news. I'm waiting for the guy that writes those things for me. Saturday. But if a drone overturns, for me, it doesn't surprise me at all. Drone yeah, chapati here. But you should wait to get to my office and you take it with tea. Morning. Morning. Yeah, so guys, we are talking SUVs and vans. What are the reasons that will make someone buy an SUV or a van? But then you get the issue of comfort. For me, I've realized that the comfort starts in the mind. If you're not comfortable, and I think comfort is with everything. I remember when I did in Kasangata, I had my 3-room house, 2 bedrooms, 1 sitting room, a kitchen. Right? And we were very comfortable. We loved our house. It was really tiny. It wasn't big. It was tiny. I think the rooms on the average 10 by like 12 or 10 by 11. And this is the standard size in most apartments. That's why when most of the people ababadde bapangisa apartments, ebiseera ebisinga bwe bazimba ennyumba, bazimba nyumba zenkana na apartments babadde bapangisa. I know a friend of mine who bought land. Let me put it here so that it cools. Give me. Okay. It's good. Let's put it here so that it cools down, okay? Take it with tea at office. So guys, I know a friend of mine here yazimba nyumba nga amodolingira ddala apartment mwe yali. But the apartment where he was had very tiny rooms. Atenga yaine ettaka ddene. Okitegeera, eh? I don't know oba lwakuba kye yali amanyi. Akireka lwakuba kye yali amanyi. The sitting room was really tiny. The bedrooms were really tiny and all that. But yet me, I find that out in the beginning when I had just built my house in Kasangati, I was okay. I was okay with the level of comfort that I had there. It was tiny. I think I realized that the house was tiny during the lockdown when I had 2 of my sisters in no home, and then the maid, and then my kids. I realized, and it shaped the way I built my house where I live now a lot. Until I realized that majority of the time when people come to your home, or even you yourself, you spend very little time in the sitting room. So my sitting room is not so big because I realized the two. If you look back at you, at your homes, so most of the time people are in their bedrooms. So I made the guest bedroom big, very big. I made the kids' bedroom really big, and I made the master bedroom huge. Why? Because I realized that most of the time people spend it in their bedrooms. So I made the bedrooms very comfortable. So I want to understand the concept of comfort with cars, because in the mirundi gentudemu SUV, the SUV is comfortable. It's comfortable the first like 40 minutes. And I remember the time I drove the Outlander, it wasn't even comfortable for 30 minutes. No, it was comfortable. It wasn't comfortable at all. So the Outlander for me is not comfortable at all. The Kaundo is comfortable, but I find that after driving it for like an hour, it's normal. The newer SI is comfortable, but it's comfortable for like the first 30 minutes. Then it becomes ordinary to the person. Now, it's even much more ordinary for the person when they own it. But after a very short time, it becomes normal. Navuga ko Ronaldo, but the Ronaldo was comfortable for like this first 20 minutes, and then it became ordinary. Then the suspension, you get used to the suspension. You get used to the suspension. Netukange ebinya katotandise okubiwulira. Omuntu abadde avuga akamotoka nga ka Vitse bw'atuula mu Ronaldo agenda gituulamu ebire comfortable, because eyiye motoka probably shocks ezibadde nanfu. Then atulamu eno motoka nga suspension eri. I find that the cars that have not driven air suspension cars, the cars that have air suspension, maybe the comfort of those cars is actually extraordinary. But the cars that have normal suspension system, the shock absorbers, I find that those cars are very comfortable for the first couple of minutes. Very comfortable for the first couple of minutes. They want to back together for one way. Baba bajja kungamba nvuge one way. Ono town esinga ati nnyo. Inakoma ku line. So anyway, Nathan Sajida accident here, but I'm going to look for it. Good morning, Henry Modern Jews. Kenneth Besigensi. Practicality goes to SUVs. Vans sometimes are too big for routine needs of a car. I actually find that SUVs are also too big. Like SUVs are too big when you're going to park. I find that SUVs are too big. If you're going to be driving in town, I find that driving a Prado like that, or driving the driving a Prado or driving the ML will be inconveniencing in town, especially to park in the tiny parking lots that are tiny parking areas we have in the city. Reverse parking is definitely harder. Parking sensors, 360-degree cameras. That would be something. Anyway, but in 360-degree cameras, that the only camera your car has is the reverse camera that comes with the car, or the one that you install, and the side mirrors and driving mirrors. Parking the SUVs is and I've driven for a very long time. But I also find the same thing with vans. Vans are also not practical. Double cabins. I find that there are cars that should be kept for highways, for example. Like the van that we will have in my home is going to be definitely diesel, because tugenda bati tujivuga bya mu town egenda kuba etambula ngendo mpanvu okitegeera. So I find that both the van and SUVs are not practical at all. Zonna teziri practical, zonna ziwamu obuzibu driving, and especially if you're going to be driving in town. Chovula banti abantu abasinga balina ezo SUVs, they end up getting drivers, because the driver knows how to maneuver. Their job is to simply drive. Safety goes beyond a hard body. The ability of a car to detect collision, airbags from all directions, safe parking, the latest cars being able to drive to safety when you sleep on the wheel. Uganda wano bamekaba ine moroka isobora okukola ekintu ekyo. Of course, I saw the Subarus have eyesight. I want to get a Subaru that has eyesight, and I try driving it into a wall. The eyesight actually works by the time it comes to Uganda. But most of the SUVs that are driven here safe. Like my car has airbags in Mulimpaji Mulimu airbag. Where is this airbag? It's supposed to have an airbag here. Where is the airbag this side? My car, my car is a Raptis, but it has airbags all around. So I find, where is the airbag in this field? It's supposed to have airbags here, but it has airbags behind there. So I find that most of the cars safe that come right now actually have airbags, and there are cars, even the small ones, there are those that have like parking sensors. Of course, they cannot stop when you doze. Most of them don't. But I find that even smaller cars, of course, Subaru zenyine zina eyesight. Nazo jua sanga za bei muzi milioni 8.5. Uchitegea. Mugalasa Agambi, I will buy SUV for respect and for business deals. Yeah, someone here said he has a Harrier for business. Nga bagenda kusinkana ba client avuga Harrier, wabagenda bibi avuga moroka ye ya bulijjo. Someone said that. So the traffic officer has stopped us, so we are not moving. So the traffic officer has stopped us, and you see there is one traffic officer, two traffic officers there. The ones that have white on their hands, those are traffic officers. You see the bridge up there where people are moving? That's a bridge. You know it? Yeah. Good morning, Arthur. For me, an SUV is mainly prestigious, but nothing else special about it. Thank you, Job. I actually think like Kim and Joshua have the point. SUV wane Uganda abantu abasinga bazivuga mostly for respect, for prestige. Kuraga consent sentence wezeza. That's why yes. Yeah. Yes, but someone will steal that phone. I don't know why she's using the phone in public like that. When you use the phone in public like that in Kampala, the thieves steal it. Yeah. Good morning, Sebogwao, Medi, Billy Crown. The convenience is more of an illusion that comes with confidence, especially when dealing with bullies. Like you're not bullied. Yeah, I've been bullied before by some dude. He was a broker. He came to our parking, and then he had packed an email, and he said, I engaged him for some time. Then I and then I let it go. But that's a long time ago. You remember? Yeah. So guys, I've constantly told you about the trauma that comes with one way bantu mwe. Batuganye uvuga one way baby nkoleranga. So you remember, guys, how I told you the trauma that comes with accidents? In December 2022, I think, a Mercedes-Benz knocked our Corolla. Mujukira. Ragnar still remembers that day. He still remembers that someone knocked our car. So somehow kids don't really forget. You guys, the guys that are in my age group, mujukira ShopRite here one year chari you. Mujukira ShopRite like kateri you one. You guys remember the ShopRite here? We used to come there. In Sangaku ShopRite, and then the MTN service center there for the guys that used to buy lines. Yeah, that was like center for the young people to meet. Yeah, but you know, childhood is magical. Childhood is definitely magical. You have a lot of things to remember about childhood. Yeah, I remember even when Kenjoy opened, the Kenjoy supermarket in is it Namasuba there? When Kenjoy opened, we used to go with a friend of mine to tugula amazige bitano gasoka ku Kenjoy. Batugula amazige bitano. Good morning, Juliet. Joking. I blame everything on electric cars. My marriage failed. I blame. Joking. Why are you blaming? Where are you from? And why are you blaming electric cars? Omni Wandiambi, tell us about the status. The debate ends here. Status. Yeah, I find guys, nobody needs status in terms of cars. I find that status should be tied to the things you do and how you impact other people's lives. You guys have seen very simple men in Kubiareyo Jitwaku. Ilangafuke Moroke is simple. Nenga, he has the respect of everyone. Modern SUVs offer comfort, technology, and fuel efficiency comparable to SUV, and also versatility to handle different terrains and weather conditions. Yes, when we talk about the modern ones, yeah, then I agree. But I don't think comfort is one of the things that I will ever think about. A car is a car. A car is a car. I find that as long as there are potholes in the road, the comfort is not actually there. I think the comfort is meant to move with the roads that are constructed according to the standards. Once you have bad roads, the comfort is negligible. Once you have bad roads, the comfort is negligible. Otherwise, the president would be moving on the roads we move on. But the president always uses the Entebbe Express because the road was done according to standard. I have issues with guys flashing me from the back because the reflection from the rear view mirror blinds me. That happens with small cars. Even with big cars, it happens. As long as you have a driving mirror that is looking the right way, because with an SUV, you see that, like now that double cabin there, his driving mirror is supposed to be facing me, whether he likes it or not. So if I flash like this, it goes to him. It goes to him, but it actually goes to him. But when someone flashes, it also depends on how far they are from you. If someone is this far from you, they flash, you will see. But if someone gets this close, we're flashing at all. Driving mirror. But as long as you have a driving mirror that is set the right way, you will see the flashlights. We're not flashing about it. It's no longer exiting. Kim Job, I don't like small cars with guards, but from what happened to my car a month ago, I'm now considering putting at least the front guard. Me, I don't think I'm going to consider putting a guard at all. One, a guard, you know, a mania chassis. The chassis will get damaged eventually. I also find that the guard spoils the bumpers. Then I also find that the guard will increase the fuel consumption of your car because it has increased the weight, the overall weight of the car. So, but I find that one of the things you could do is be as cautious as possible. Like Kim, I've been in situations where you have been, where you are, and I fought with my car. Normally, I try to maintain a distance. Like, for example, if the car is coming from the direction where we are going and they want to overtake, if you have this space between you and this truck in front of me, then you can actually maneuver. But if there is no space, there is no way you're going to maneuver. I would totally understand, but in the cases where you are, God because remember you are coming against a truck. So at that moment, God the guard would make things worse. The front guard makes things worse in terms of accidents. Like for example, if you are to hit that person, if you hit that person with a normal bumper, the damage is less than when you hit them with a guard. Remember, the guard is metal. So if you hit a border guy with a guard, they get more damaged. They get more hurt than when you hit them with the bumper. The bumper was made soft for a reason, guys. The bumper was made soft for a reason. And the reason is, that if you bump into something, you don't hurt it a lot. But once you put a guard, the reason why Bullbars exist, and Bullbars were made for off-road cars. Bullbars were not made for cars that drive. Era chovola banze bwendaba omuntu nga atadde bulba ku moroka evuga mu kibuga like Kruger. Era bulba zigira ku moroka ezikoleddwa for off-roading. That's why you find that Bullbars will come with those Land Cruisers. Bullbars were made for cars that are off-road. So if I find someone putting a Bullbar on a Kaundo, and the cars that are made for off-roading are cars that have a chassis, they don't have a unibody. If your car has a unibody, the chassis and the body uniform, that's what I mean. Don't put guards. Ogenda kube moroka yoji menya. Katolabe ye moroka. E moroka teyali made to do what it's doing. Teina kuba na guard. That's why it has a plastic bumper. Demo naboyo oyo waka spasio ali ku simu. Olabe ye moroka. It's not kale atebo ngamba mbo okutekako guard. I would understand okutekako guard ye mabega. Why? Because I want to understand that sometimes the border guys run into our cars. And when they run into your car, you want them to just simply run into the bumper. Ne bumper your muscles sinalaba mugaso gwayo kujja ko worsening conditions. So I find, is that your water bottle, Ragnar? I find that the guard yenyizo okuwagira omuntu yenno tekako yeye mabega nti boda bwajjako ne ku guard aleme kuyingira boot bumper yo. But the front bumper, the reason why the front bumper exists is to not worsen conditions. Baba babise byuma katate they have covered metal steel ate you're putting more steel in front. These guards were meant for cars that go off-road, that if you find sticks, you find okay, let's just say a bull. If you find a bull in the road and you have to knock it down or it runs into your car doesn't really get a damage. And the bull bars are attached to the chassis, not to the body. You put a guard on the body, not an kujimenya. So unless your car came with a bull bar or it's like if you put a bull bar on a double cabin, that's understandable. But on a Wish, no. And I've seen it happen. People do that. So Kim, you can go ahead and put a guard on your car, but I would advise against it. Just try to be as cautious as possible when you're driving on the road. I know that accidents sometimes does hit, but personally, I think most of the accidents that I've been in, if they did not knock me from the booty, and I've been in quite a number of them. Not all of them have never been serious, but I've been involved in some accidents. And every accident where I knocked from in front, I can tell you that I can see what I did wrong. Like the very first accident I had when I was at campus driving my Chibina, I entered the road too soon. And I knew that was going up. The second accident that I had that was really serious, we were in jam. Then we had the other accident that I had wasn't my fault. From behind, so that I cannot say. But still, ninzo kuba na weta bubi because nali mpeta kuwa MC nyamuke. Ninzo bena na weta bubi because ababoda bisele nali sinatandika kwegendereza ababoda. At that time we were not really aware that border guys are not so awakened. They are not so bright. They are not so sharp. So at that time we used to think nabaro was anga. So ninzo kuba na weta nga sibegendeza. These days I don't turn unless I look at the side mirror to see that the border guy is not there at the driving mirror. Ebisele bitwaite tumanyi. So we used to simply drive. So I every time I've had an accident, I can point to what I did. Either I was going a little bit fast, either I was going too slow, or I made a turn too fast, or I looked away when I should not have been looking away. So for me in Zenga Arthur, all the accidents I've had on the road, I can tell you what I did wrong, or I can tell you what went wrong. Because if you say you can get an accident simply because your tire went off. That's something, but still, if your tire goes off, it means the last mechanic that worked on your car did not fasten the bolts. So no matter what, actually we broadcast picking up. I want her to start driving seriously. Kadira agenda kumvuga. Atene moroka arabikanga atandise okujagala. Situso jimulekera alayika nga atandise okujagala. Muraga crown nangamba gugula crown yompeni nali muraga crown and I think looking at the fuel that I use daily, I can actually manage a 2.5 liter vehicle. I can manage it kate bwengwanga ku kamurenge yo nga ya hybrid atenga ya bidibitane ebegenda kumpomera. So anyway, we are talking SUVs and vans. Why do you think people should be buying SUVs and vans? And of course you people are telling me comfort. I still want to understand what you mean by comfort, because I've come to realize that comfort is in the mind. For me, a car is special and comfortable the first 30 minutes or the first hour. After that, it is ordinary. Which take it. I remember the first time I drove a Wish, the Valvematic. Navuga Wish yamusomesa. He came to see me a wange waka, and I drove it for the first like 10 minutes. It was really comfortable. It was magical, and I think you again they are comfortable until parking the edge board. So anyway, to get a van to Malemba Sivuli. I remember that ShopRite opposite Viworogoma. After ShopRite closed in Uganda. ShopRite closed totally. Naka tufegiringa utwa irugogo boboga mumenzi ya ku Shoprite awe irugogo ngatu chayita wo Shoprite. Yeah? Ngatu chayita wo Shoprite. Juma, good morning Juma Ali. Tumuhimsa Ivan Jr. Good morning. You don't need a guard when you know how to drive defensively. Isoba Ivan, good morning. Me, I find that the guards have been misused in Uganda, have been totally misused. People that don't know how to drive put front guards so that people fear their cars as they come. That's the only reason that people put guards. Mumaso, aba boda bamutie, abe moroka ngaba atha bamutienga ja. That's the only reason people put guards. But I also saw an unpacking, a lady ainaka undo, ainako guarding eise konyo, and I saw her struggle to get out of the parking because kati parking ze bwenti waliwo ba parking ze bati. Kati aba parking ze bati bayina okuvayo bati. Kati I saw that lady struggle because she put a guard on. Hakanga ate guard eise konyo. And some of you guys muteka ko guard kumoroka guard neita konyo. Kati guard bwe eita kenyo. Guard bwe eita kenyo, it endangers you because one time ojja kulemererwa okugibala oyonone moroka y'omuntu oba oyonone ebintu by'omuntu. So the guard is ate chovola by when they put bull bars, the bull bars are on the chassis like this. Kitegeeza oli asobola okubala distance bwegenda ko mu badira motokea sefao olabeze moroka empya ezigirako bull bars. The bull bar is calculated, is also part of the car. They're aftermarket bull bars. But so Kim, you can definitely put a guard, but I don't advise you to do that. I find that you should just be alert on the road. The lorry drivers are reckless. So keep your, and also when you're on the highway, keep a lot of distance between you and the lorry. If and any car in front of you. So that omuntu oli bwajanga ayisa oyina wolwanira okola ki okumuvira nga togize. Then of course also on the highway, I try as much as possible to remind myself nadala nga ndiko express because the express is like the imitation of any other highway. I try as much as possible to remind myself that one second of looking away like this, you can crash. And then I think one of the things that keeps me too alert is that I have my entire family sometimes in the car. And then I think engine eri muno nze engine ya family yange kati engine senge gwa kabenje ne gwawo ogenda kuba oyonona okitegeera. So try as much as possible to be alert. Kim guard nze ngamba waligirese the bumper is safe enough. The guys that have brushed other cars, do you imagine senga olunaku lwakulubule moroka endala, you imagine senga wainako guard, the guard would make things worse. But the guard gives beauty to the SUV and the pickups for sure. Also, our border from behind basana guard, and from experience, it saves the light in case of an accident. No. Guards don't save lights. In an accident where your lights are saved because of the guard, you have spoiled someone else's property. That's the thing. Ochitege, right? So I find that yes, if for example you were like crashing into a wall, you'll spoil the wall and your lights will probably be saved, but your chassis would be damaged because the guard is attached to your body, so your body will move. For you to know, every time you have an accident, go for wheel alignment. Bajja kugamba guno mpira gwatambula ne guddako emabega oba guno gwadda maaso. That's the impact that guard is going to have on your car. So if I should not be telling you these things anymore. You guys should know. Like I'm looking at a space in front of me here. In a guard, it looks ugly. The space looks ugly. It looks like something was just put there. Spacios look good when they don't have a guard. I've seen someone that put a guard on a Primo, like on a Primo, the 2008 model Primo. How would you put a guard? And I find that abantu government abateka ko guard ku motoka zabwe izo double cabins and Land Cruisers. They do that because sometimes they drive in the villages. They go there and wait and be. So if you're driving in those bad roads and you have like a bull bar or a guard, the guard will make way for you. That's why they have guards. I know Kim Job, every accident is draining. But you imagine Senga waina guard, don't you think the damage would have been worse? And do you think that kind of accident, you think the guard would have saved anything? It wouldn't. Okay, one way that It's strange. But one way that I try to keep myself safe is to avoid up-country trips. Nzenga Arthur. I try to avoid them as much as possible. Nti majority of the accidents that are fatal, zibera ku highways, Bombo Road, Ogende Yuguru, Masaka Road. You can remove your seatbelt. Okay. Ogenda, Hoima, most of the deadly accidents happen on those highways. So Nzenga Arthur, I try as much as possible to avoid those highways. Probably until they make 2-lane roads, Ngabaza demo like the Entebbe Express, then those roads will be a little bit safer. But for me, if I don't have to go up country, I don't. And I've never really had to go up country. The last time I went up country, Nagenamba Tororo, Gurayo Primo. Then yeah, Tororo Gurayo Primo. And then a bit about after that, when I had my teams in Atkolane Ikop, Masaka Mobende Hoima. So I'd go between those districts supervising those teams. But other than that, I've tried as much as possible to avoid going up country. After the nature of Ugandan roads needs an SUV, at least a mini SUV. Otherwise, there are people you won't visit. Agaba. Okay, I'm not a visiting type, I think that's probably why. I'm not the visiting type, but I find that I would not buy an SUV simply to visit people. I can hire an SUV at 150,000, 200,000. So if I have to visit someone and their road is really that bad, instead of me spending 70 million shillings buying an SUV that I don't need half of the time, what I would do is I would hire an SUV at 200,000 shillings that day, go with my car to the place where I'm going to hire the SUV, the company. They give me parking, I park my car there, then I take their SUV. When I come back from wherever I've gone, bring back their SUV and take my car. I find that that's a more sustainable thing. I've also found that people in Europe, they hire people normally don't play football in the morning. So, but then like in the US and Europe, people hire motorhomes. They don't buy them because they are motorhomes. They are at their disposal. So if I need to get a motorhome and go somewhere with the family, I go and hire a motorhome. Like in Uganda, where are the motorhomes? So if I cannot access something by renting it, especially when I need it, if I need it just periodically, then I buy it. But if I can access it by renting it and it's much more expensive, yeah, then I hire it. Like I don't think irana SUV jengendo kugulira mama aba ntegenda kubazidi SUV tugenda kugenda mohari ya tetusukawo nyaawo because you SUV etali ya bei nyonga ateli reliable okitegeera kati we just buy something that is reliable for her kuba ajagala for her she doesn't even want it nti oba ina ekyama nchege yayagala kuva mu SUV nga javuga okitegeera Project Kejja safe Zimbabwe Project Kejja guards are in town are for borders. Mark W. I've been driving in town for more than 10 years. I started driving in 2010. I've never thought I needed a guard for borders. I think the one thing you need for borders is patience. Because borders, tebakurura maso na mabega. Borders can actually scratch one. Nyina mo scratch ya border wali mabega. Ne wali, nyina scratch ya border. So what a guard, you're going to be knocking borders. Because I found that some people put guards in front to be knocking borders to move. And that can actually be fatal because oja kusindiko wa border akurope ku police agamba oyo musajja antomedde. Olumo sange pishi yali ya chama dana yagamba oyo antomeza guard. Kati bwe mugenda ku police because the guards are also not allowed but andika okufutya nko osange ovudde mu sente. Okitegeera. Good morning. Obo space bote busana guard, but Land Cruiser and double cabins look good. Good morning, Arthur. Guards are meaningless. That's why manufacturers use plastic bumpers as opposed to metallic ones, like in the Dianas, Land Cruisers, Zedda, Baba, Moroka, actually General Moroka Zedda, ne Corolla Zedda. Guards zazo zabanga za byuma. Okitegeera, guards zabo zabanga za byuma. But then plastic makes more sense. It's safer for people. But hey guys, when Bobato na take a guard ku motoka kuba makafana nyise, and one reason I don't allow my kids to cross the road. Kuba makafana nyingo mwana wa badda sale kubo. Emoroka na emusibirako. Bwebe ina guard, the impact is hard. Bwebe ina bumper, the impact is not that hard. Okitegeera. So buli chokola I want you to imagine if it was you in front of that car, oba buli chokola chikole nga wetadde mu ngato za victim, emmotoka gwe genda okukola coach obulabe. Project Keja said, Arthur, I fear driving on highway because a lot of reckless drivers there. Nangi, because go javuga bulungi nayo mulala javuga bubi. Bwavuga obubi gwe wesango ina. Sometimes reckless drivers katinga about the situation of him, he was driving nicely, someone overtook, na musanga yonga he has to go off, and he had to go off like vigorously, and then he found himself knocking the guards on the road. So you'll find that you drive very well. I try as much as possible to avoid the highways whenever I can. Arthur, SUV is a dream car to have in Uganda. Kindly talk about Suzuki SX4 at 13. What's the SX4? Is it the what's that? The SX4. Joshman, you can definitely buy if it's in good condition, but Suzuki is disturbed in terms of spare parts and also specialized garages, because Suzuki sibuli muntu nti agikanika. Okitegeera. Lucky Mose, hi, how do I pay for trackers? This tracker na ye. Mark W, did I put the tracker for you? You send me the 50,000. Put withdrawal fees. You send me 50, 52, 53, 55,000, depending on how rich you are. So you send me the subscription, send me the number plate of your car. If I put the tracker in your car, you send me the 50,000, you send me the number plate of your car, it will be reactivated in like 30 minutes. Yeah, guys, in Bajukiza, I sell car trackers. Yeah, because they are put them there because of just a car. Look at it in terms of money. In the one went to them, Sendezang is into them. Sendezang is into them. Surprisingly, a survey was done here, and the conclusion was that there are more accidents within the city than on highways. I could be case elsewhere. No, Saith, actually no. Okay, let's just say that there are more accidents in town, but the deadliest accidents happen on the highways. Like in town, you'll find that a taxi loses brake. Sorry. So Saith Abadacha Gamba was shown to have more accidents in town. Yes, Saith. The reason why I never even think that the accidents in town that have that much impact is because the accidents in town are not as deadly as the accident on a highway. I was saying, a taxi loses braking power in town. Yes, it will knock, but the people not as much as if it loses braking power on Bombo Road. So yes, but more people die on highways than in town. More people die on highways than in town. So that's what is happening. Network yet koze chemical nekamba siwe. Rashida, farm security. Rashida, what does farm security? What do you do? Nampija network munage munatsonyiwa ye government ya fiche tukolede network ye regulating. Someone was telling Honorable Nyombi Tembo. He's the executive director, I think, Uganda Communication Commission. And on Twitter, Twitter is savage. People say. So they were, and of course, I find that if we had the freedom of expression like in the US, like you guys need to understand, we don't have freedom of expression in Uganda. You cannot just say anything in Uganda. There are things you will say and they let them slide, but there are things you will say and they get you locked up or even tortured. But on Twitter, people are a little bit there. Like someone was saying, Honorable Nyombi Tembo, that you have failed us as a country. The network is bad. You tell us we have 5G. Now in actual sense, we have 3G. And some other words that I cannot say. Which right? That's the network that Honorable Nyombi Tembo wants us to have. That's what he's regulating. And the guys in UCC. That's true. The deadliest accidents happen on highways. So me, I try as much as possible to keep my kids off of the highways. And yes, it's bad for my kids to not know how to cross the road. But they will know that you have to cross the road, but they will not cross the road until they are old enough. And if I can avoid that entirely, I will totally avoid it. Because when I work for Uganda, even the zebra crossings don't work. So anyway, guys, SUVs, people have given you guys apparently don't want vans at all. So it seems like people buy vans because they have to buy vans. People buy SUVs because they want SUVs. One, for comfort, said convenience, abantu bakuzalawa, prestige, still abantu bakuzalawa, and of course, safety. The safety actually happens with even the small cars. Some small cars have the sensors, they have parking assist and all that. But the small cars that have parking assist and that have those features, normally people don't buy them because ogendo kwesanga bei kumpi yemne ya SUV, so they just let it slide. For example, if you were to buy like, and of course I'm not saying the Starlet has those features, if you were to buy like a Starlet which is 70 million in at Sifao, brand new, then someone says at 70 million I can get an SUV that has all these features and still it's an SUV. So people end up buying the SUVs because the SUV is, well, more prestigious. But one of the biggest reasons why people buy SUVs is because of the prestige that comes with you owning an SUV, driving an SUV. And one of the reasons why people end up not buying SUVs is because SUVs are expensive to buy, fuel, and maintain. So hey, what are you doing? If you said everything, people buy SUVs simply because they have made the money. And I'm thinking, I find these cars, the cars that are low are much more comfortable than SUVs. Simanyo about anyone that can agree with me. I find that my Corolla is much more comfortable than the Outlander because I remember the experience vividly. That day I was driving the Corolla. I cannot forget. And I remember that he told me he works in the Ministry of Education. That's all I remember. But I remember getting out of my Corolla to drive the Outlander and getting back into my Corolla. And of course, after that night, then I started driving the Vitz. I remember the day Revampa Outlander is the day we bought the first Vitz we bought. And then I remember that the feeling of the SUV is not, the Corolla is much more comfortable than that Outlander. A crossover SUV gives you the feeling of both worlds. Yeah, then crossovers would work. Crossovers would definitely work. But I find that crossovers, normally, the cost is not worth it. The cost is definitely, because crossover, they're all in Uganda here at least. The price of buying the crossover SUV is almost the price of buying an SUV. Was that because you don't have enough potholes on your SUV or your drive? No,